I grew up knowing the perpetrator. We were very close families, and there was constantly attempts to like pursue me and stalking at a young age where he would constantly call me, and even if I didn't answer, he would call from a blocked number. And I didn't respond to any of those attempts. It wasn't until he lost his adoptive brother, that was a younger brother, that I did reach out and try to connect and be supportive. And we started dating at the time. He wanted to provide and showed a lot of love bombing, which is just doing a lot of grand gestures to make me feel like safe, make me feel like he really wanted me, and again, continued to pursue me. So he joined the military, and his recruiter said that we basically needed to get married so that we can have the benefits. And being, in my early 20s, teens, I got married to someone that I thought really loved and cared for me. Our families knew each other for a long time, and it was little signs, but it really escalated once we were isolated from everyone that we knew in Virginia. And he started, being physically abusive, emotionally abusive, dictating what we could and could not purchase. When he deployed, he made it so that I couldn't get housing. And so I had to stay in another airman's dorms, which was not allowed, but I didn't have any other options. I was sexually assaulted when he was away, and the person told him that I cheated on him. And he made me sit there with a gun as he handcuffed me and told me that the only way that we'll be able to fix our relationship was if I took a break from school and went on a trip with him. So I did what he asked me to do. We ended up having a child, purchased a house, and after that, again, the abuse escalated and escalated and escalated. While going through it, I had one person. She was another airman, but she was an officer, and so she became a support person. She actually stayed with me in the house when I got the protective order so that I wasn't alone. So she knew, and I was able to tell her, but I didn't really feel like the military would support me. I didn't really feel like it would be perceived as I was a victim. There was always a reason as to why he was allowed to be in uniform. And he was an officer, meaning police officer, not by rank, but police officer in the military. And they protected him. They kept him at the gate with the large guns, even though they knew that I was being abused by him, even though they knew that there was a possibility that I could enter that gate at any moment, and who knows what he would have done. And they saw the threats. He made a threat against my life that he would take it, and they kept pushing and kept fighting to keep him armed because that was part of his job so that he can stay employed, because they were so focused on their mission. What they told me was, if you tell, they're going to take your child away. So that's the support that I got. There was a nurse who identified that it was abusive, and she connected me with Angela Duhan, and she changed my life. I started off with the military protective order that he was not allowed to come back, and I believe Angela assisted me with getting that done. And that's the same day that I said I had to barricade myself and my mother and my son, because he still came to the house that day. And I called his first sergeant. His first sergeant took his time in coming to the home, and nothing happened. I called the police as well. Nothing happened. So the first sergeant basically was like, let him just get his stuff. Even though he was not allowed to be there, he didn't receive any consequence for that. It was more so of, why are you making a fuss about this? I got an attorney who helped me file for the divorce, and he kept pursuing and violating the protective order, and she helped me hide away in a hotel at one point just so that I could get away, because he had keys to our home. And so if he didn't come to the home violating protective order, he had his friends, airmen even, coming to the home at any time. So I had to go to the community to get protective orders. And that was also a challenge because they didn't fully understand everything that was happening, and they kept trying to push me back to the military. But again, the military was not supporting me. So I'm working between two communities of supposed support, but I just felt like I was doing it by myself. And I don't know if I would still be here if Angela didn't help me, because you have to keep record of everything that's going on. You have to keep advocating. You have to show up to court every single time, even though they are breaking down everything that you're telling to them, and they're breaking down how you look, how you speak, how you respond, every single thing to determine whether or not you're a victim. her presence, showing up, being there every step of the way, letting me know, what resources were available and helping me as I was really having to navigate that while being a single mother, 3,000 miles away from my family and friends and doing it all alone. And also financially, he was being paid as a military member, having a family, right? So you get paid for each dependent that you have. I was not receiving any funds, and there are regulations to where they are supposed to be helping with that. They never required him to do that. So I had to go to the local court to file for child support. He was never arrested by the Air Force. He was never given a reprimand. And I believe he discharged honorably, if I'm correct. So he still has benefits and still has a lot of access to resources, even though the reason why he lost his job in the military is because they could not continue to cover up all of the things that he was doing to me and to other people. Oftentimes, like, my story, being a Black woman, being a Black victim and survivor, is not always shared. And if it is, sometimes there's always stereotypes attached to that, right? Of, substance use or broken family in the background or all these reasons why it happens. And I think that we should definitely shift that there's not one particular makeup of a victim or survivor. But I also think it's important for me to share, potentially that there were additional hurdles because of my complexion, because I'm a Black woman. And I also think that it's important for survivors to see me, as I am right now, as a Black woman, as a survivor, right? That is now being able to provide support to others. I'm in a healthy, happy relationship. I have a daughter now, and my life has definitely blossomed in multiple ways beyond this experience. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. My work is basically to be present with victims and survivors to let them know that they're not alone. And so I help them to regain their strength, regain their power, regain their voice, and recognize that there is healing after this. There is life, there is love, there is happiness and joy after this. I don't know if Angela really knows how impactful she was in my life. And I just feel very grateful to be able to be here and be in this space and to be able to sit with them, because it takes a toll on so many different facets of who you are as a person and your lifestyle. And to just be present with them and let them know that I am here with you. I see you, I hear you, and I understand. It's not the end, right? I'm a testimony of that. And while it took a lot, I've also gained a lot because I've grown in the woman that I am today, not because of him or that situation, but because of what I was able to do despite that situation.